Hello everyone, this is Racine with Happiness, and do I have a lot to show you what I've made, what I'm working on, what I potentially plan to work on, and I hope this will be a treat for you all. And as I start getting things organized, I want to know what your weather is like, because where I'm at, it is cold and it's wet, and I am looking forward to warmer days because it has been like forever that I've seen warm weather. But I have shared with you that I am doing something for the community, and I am making hats. Now, it's the month of March, and so with Battle of the Stitches, it is the offset shell, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I have made an offset hat, and it's with sparkle black yarn, and I can't remember the name, but the hook that I had used, I'll have to get better at this, was the letter G, and it is all acrylic, and someone is going to get a new hat, so that is that one. Then I made just a single crochet, half double crochet of Starlight White, same hook, and this is a white beanie. And then I got one more. I ran out of the white yarn, but I had started down here on the bottom, and you can kind of see the offset shell. And if you want to find out how to make this pattern, look up Battle of the Stitches on Facebook for the month of March. And then I was just won the Yarny Addiction, made a hat, and it's a beanie, and I put two colors together, and I did 14 chains, and then I just went back and forth in the back loop, and then I just did half double crochets from the ridge up to the crown, and then I just cinched it up. So that is another hat. And then I was like, I need to challenge myself a little bit more, so I went over to Crystal Bag O'Day, and I fell in love with this hat. She did on the top the magic circle, and then she did 12 stitches, and then to increase, she did a regular stitch, double crochet, and in that same stitch she went below and she did a front post until she got up to 60 stitches, and then she did a row of single crochet, and then she did a half double together with a skip stitch in between. You have to go and look up this pattern. It took me a day to just make it up, and I absolutely love it. And throughout the time frame that I have, I'm going to still be making up hats, and it is so thick and so warm. So then I went to Walmart, and I thought, you know, I haven't done any knitting hats. So I got the sparkle yarn, and I usually don't have a 16-inch knitting hook, knitting needles. So I buy 2 needles, and this will be size 6, 4.5, 25 mm's. And then I joined the stitches, and I got a lovely hat pattern, so look forward to coming back and seeing this come together. And then I bought at Walmart, and I started one, but you'll have to see. It's called the Stack Brick Pattern, and I'm gonna varicate it with, what color is this? Gray Beard, and I've already made this much on it, and I've got this much left, and I'm going to add to it, and it is called Crafter's Secret Big Yarn, and this one is just regular red, really bright red, and in between I got another one, and this is called Cranberry. So we're going to do the Gray Beard, the Cranberry, and then the red, and I'm going to rotate because Juan, the Yarnery Addict channel for the month of March is putting together a challenge where you do one stitch, but you can use any amount of colors. So that is what I'm going to be doing with that. And then I went to my local yarn shop. Picture this, on the upstairs, it's a consignment store, and people bring in their stuff and they have a booth, and they have all kinds of stuff, from stuff from today to Victorian, and next time I'm gonna go and see if I can do a video walkthrough with that. So I'm gonna bring this bag in front, and I'm gonna take out the yarn so I can show you what all I got. And I hope you guys all like what I got. I'm so excited because today is show and tell and future projects. So I have 3, well, let me tell you about the store downstairs. So, you know how when we were growing up, or at least I'm doing my age, growing up, I lived in Wyoming, and we used to go to auction to different farms. People were lost a family member, they both passed away, one passed away, kids inherited and they don't want nothing to do with it, or some financial situations happen and they had to get rid of the farm. So you have a state auction. Well, this lady happens to go to consignment stores or wherever, department stores that are going out of business, and we just recently had one go out of business. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to add anything on that. But anyways, she went and got bulk fabric, all kinds of yarn, all kinds of needles, from crochet hooks to knitting needles, sewing needles, because she does sewing, sells yarn to make into quilts. But anyways, this is what I got. So let's get started. So I make scrunchies from Michelle Crochet, showed us how to make scrubbies, and mine is getting to the point where I need a new one. So I got a new scrubby, and this only costs $2.49. At other stores, I paid up to $6 for this little bit of Red Heart scrubby strips, and it is called Seaweed Coral. There's no red in it, or pink or salmon, but it's got colors of grays and greens and white of what coral is from the ocean. Then I got 3 of the Pearson yarn portals, and the color is, there's no name for the color, it just has a number of mill end yarn, and I got it for $1.99. 3 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4 for $1.99. And it is, this one is 4.3 ounces, 4.1, 4.3, 4.2, and it's just off marked down because it was bought in a big department store that just recently went out of business. Go figure. So I don't know if I'm going to be, and let me see if it says if it's 100% acrylic, and you can use a size H, I, or J hooks. So we'll have to stay tuned to see what else we're gonna make. And I got Red Heart Kiddos, and I got 3 of these, and this happened to be $2.89. And it's a 4-weight ply. It's 4 ply. It's 4 ounces, 113 grams. And you can use a size 8 through 12 knitting needles or a size H hook. They say you can wash it in cold water. You can put it in the dryer on low heat, but don't iron it. I wonder why. It's acrylic. And so I got 3 of those. Oh, the second one, the price of that was $2.89 and $2.89. So I'm going to put that in front of me here. And because I'm going to be knitting, I got, being that we just had Valentine's, Susan Bates Stitches markers for $1.99, and there are 18 stitch markers, all different colors of hearts, whites, pinks, and red hearts. So I got that. Well, then I don't have it with me in front of me, but I have some sock yarn. So I got some bamboo needles. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is size 3 for $3. Bamboo needles. What a deal. Well, then I also have been getting different needles, and everybody's like, what size are your knitting needles? Well, once you take them out of the package from Walmart, like I just showed you, sometimes I misplace. Well, now I have a gauge where I can stick the knitting needles, crochet hooks, or whatever, mainly knitting needles, and I can see what size, and I'm going to put it in my knitting bag so that I don't misplace them. Well, then I have not had Clover it's covered up so I can't, the Clover knitting needles. So I got 2 of them, size 16, 41 centimeters, size 3.5, to make socks or hats. So I'm going to be getting together. And then one of our fabulous VJ has been, or all of you have seen that I have put together namesake doilies. And I either do them in a cream, or the last couple that I've made have been in white. Well, someone like VJ Crochet said, why don't you put a border around with black? I got both of these, a cotton black number 12, 150 yards. So 150 and 150 is 200. Both of them for $1. Boy, did I I got a good deal on all of this. And so, with that, I'm going to set this to the side, and I have a couple of questions that several of you have reached out and asked me what my answers would be. So hopefully I wrote these questions down a couple of days ago. And so one person said, okay, we all have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth. And I put in the comments that we have not learned how to control our mouth because our mouth always gets in trouble. Well, I did some praying, and this is what I got by the intuition of just waiting for an answer. The Lord gave us 2 eyes that we need to see twice as much of what we've done in our life or in someone else's life, and how things are happening in someone else's lives. And before we speak, we need to see what the whole picture has been to see if we need to respond to it. And then if someone is speaking, we need to listen twice as hard, open up our ears to see what we've said in the past, in the present, or even in the future, and also what the other person or other circumstances are being said before we open up our mouth. Because once we open up our mouth and we say something, everyone says, watch what you say, because once you say something, you can't take it back. Point taken. And then here, let me read this next. Remember, we only need to answer. Oh, okay. When you're going through a hard time, or either in life in general, I want you all to remember that the only one that we really have to answer to is God, who created us. Yes, we were born through our parents, and the scripture says that we are a gift to our parents, but the only one that is going to really give us the outcome of our life here on earth or the afterlife is how we live our life. And what we do with that is when God and us see each other face to face or through the Spirit, He's going to have a conversation with each and every one of us as individuals. Why did you do this? Or I'm glad you did that. And if you have an opportunity today to get things more right with God, from things that you've done in your past, from things that you had growing up in your family, if you have an opportunity and you can forgive someone, then you're that much closer to God that He can forgive you for your actions, because you have changed the heart circumstances in your life to show that we all make mistakes. We are all sinners, and that we want to have everything the best that God has for us. So, moving on to our next questions. How we live this life is going to determine where we end up. There's only 2 places after we die: hell or heaven. I want to live in heaven because, some movies have been made about hell. Some movies have touched on heaven. And I want to live the best life both here and in heaven. I don't want to be in the lake of fire or in torment for eternity. So if you have an opportunity, look and see how you can change things. Go to a pastor. If you have a friend that is already walking with the Lord and you have questions, go and ask that person. Come back and ask me, and let's get closer to the Lord through scriptures and see how you can change your life. And the biggest thing that we can start out with, that I'm going to leave a word with you, worry is sin. And sin is that you do not trust God. And that's what happened with Adam and Eve back in the Garden of Eden. Now, Moses said, I am uneducated, but God used him. He wasn't a scholar. He wasn't trained in the Bible through scriptures. So he had to learn how to trust through faith, how to seek out the Lord and what he was being led to do to help with the Israelites. Disciples did not learn what the requirements were for the Bible, scriptures, and from things from past, so they were untrained. And God said, it is better to know nothing and to be more open to learn new things from God. And you can find that in Philippians 4:13. And going through whatever you're going through, whether in the spirit, in the soul, in the body, I hope that you have a blessed time, that you seek out what is the right way to live a life. We can all say we've done things that have not turned out the right way, and if we continually to seek and go forward, and you really ask God, like I'm having a conversation here with you, I want to see what is the best for everybody. And that's why I share my jokes, and that's why I'm not sharing one right now, because it's about yarn and my crocheting and how I can continually have a good relationship with each and every one of you. Because when we don't know something, and it took me for a long time to learn how to admit that I did not know everything, then I can be open to seeing how I can learn things. And when I do that, then I can learn from you, learn from the Bible, learn from your life. And when we do that, then we can all grow. And when we can do that, it's like making this blanket challenge from Juan. I'm going to do one row with you. And he said for a challenge for the month of March, take one pattern and see what you can do, and then you're getting out of something that you've normally done before. What I may do with this is going to be a surprise. But if we do the same thing over and over and over, if we eat the same foods over and over and over, you're going to miss out on a lot of different things. Just like I went and got all this new yarn, and I'm like, I have a couple of ideas of what I want to do. I have all of your channels that you've made hats, you've made beanies. I may take part of your hat pattern and mix things up, put different colors together, because it's like with our life. We mix up a lot of different things and we can create different things. But if we just do single crochets or chains all the time. We're going to have some pretty bland crochet products or knit products, but if we mix it up, like right now I'm doing chains and single crochet, well, the next row I'm going to do double crochet in the spaces that I'm creating these little bitty holes, and then in the top of the single crochets I'm going to put a double crochet. At the end of this month I will show you what and how big this blanket is going to get. I'm working towards possibly a baby blanket, but you saw how big these big ideas. Let me get to the where it says how much is in. It is 16 ounces, 454 grams, 810 yards, or 740 meters. Well, I've made a couple of hats with the grayed beard, so I'm not going to add that much from the red or the cranberry, but you'll have to stay tuned to see how much I actually make with this blanket. And I know it's been a while that I've been on to crochet with you, to join in with you, and I'm not just about jokes, and I'm not just about sharing my faith. I am here to show you all in the very near future. I'm going to be doing some knitting. I'm going to continually crocheting because I love to crochet, and I look forward to showing you makes and to have an adventure in exploring. I've made a couple of patterns just by stitches that have been introduced to me. I am working on writing up a pattern, and it will be the very first pattern that I've ever put together, and I can't wait to show you all of that. And the more that I broaden my horizon, I may have, if it's, let me know if you guys think this would be a good idea to show different stitches of how I actually add chains when I first start, how I make it into the first row, how I go from that to making something, and then ultimately how it's going to be turned into something. So I finished my row, and I'll bring it up kind of close where you can kind of see. I've got little bricks right here where it's a double crochet on the top of the single crochet, then in the space I got 2 double crochets, and then I do another double crochet, and I chained 116, and I went all the way down and did that. When I first started, after I did my chains, I chained 1, because you do multiples of 3 plus 1. So I did 116 chains. I turned, and in the very first chain I did a single crochet. Then I chained 2, skipped 2 chains, and did a single crochet in the 3rd loop, and I went all the way down to the end. So then when I got to the other end, so that I could come back and do the double crochets, let me see if I can hold this up for you. I chained up 3, And then in the spaces I put 2 double crochets, and in the top of the single crochets I did a double crochet. And then I went all the way down and I got 115 double crochets, and that's just the repeat. So I'm going to do a few more rows of the bearded gray, and then I'm going to do the red and the burgundy, and then I'll come back to the gray. So it's probably going to be maybe 2 stripes, 3 stripes, depending on how much I can get in between, because I want to make sure that I balance it out. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll have 8 rows. I'm going to do 8 rows of the other 2 colors, and we'll see what I get to the end of March. But with that, I want you all to have a good evening. Thank you for joining me, and please stay tuned, both for my crocheting, for my knitting, and for most of all, my questions. And the best part, which some people really, really like, that they just come in for just my jokes, because sometimes we all need a joke, just a good joke to laugh. So until we all meet again, take care, have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing y'all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.